Imagine standing in the middle of a vast golden savanna, thousands of years ago. The air is thick with the scent of dry grass and the distant call of a predator. You are not alone. You are surrounded by your kin, your tribe, your entire world. From the moment you wake up until the moment you drift into a fitful sleep under the stars, you are watched. Every movement you make, every choice you consider, is observed by the eyes of your community. Today, we lock our doors, we shield our screens, we crave the solace of solitude. But we have to ask, was this deep-seated need for privacy a fundamental human drive from the very beginning? Or is privacy just a modern luxury, a byproduct of the digital age? Today, we are going back to the roots of humanity to uncover the truth. Did ancient humans have privacy, or were they living in a world of total transparency? To understand the concept of privacy, we first have to look at how our ancestors lived. Paleolithic life was defined by one non-negotiable factor: survival. And survival was a group activity. For the vast majority of human history, we lived in small, tightly knit bands of hunter-gatherers. Think about the logistics of that existence. You aren't living in a suburban home with separate bedrooms. You are living in caves, temporary shelters, or open-air camps. Your home is a space shared by 20, maybe 30 people. In this environment, privacy in the way we define it today, being physically alone, was almost non-existent. You ate together, you slept in a pile for warmth, and you processed game meat together. There were no secrets. If you were sick, the tribe knew. If you were grieving, the tribe knew. If you were acting selfishly or breaking a social norm, the entire tribe saw it happen in real time. Does this mean they lacked a sense of self? Not at all. But their sense of self was inextricably linked to their social standing within that group. In a world where being exiled from the group meant certain death, being known was not a burden. It was a safety mechanism. However, we need to be careful not to mistake a lack of physical space for a lack of internal privacy. Just because your campfire companions can see you scraping a hide doesn't mean they can see what is happening inside your head. Anthropologists and evolutionary psychologists argue that even in the most communal settings, humans have always maintained a mental fortress. Think about it. We have evolved the capacity for complex language, but we have also evolved the capacity to not say everything we think. This is arguably the first form of privacy. The ability to hold a thought, a resentment, a plan, or an observation in your own mind without verbalizing it. That is a private space. Ancient humans were master observers. They read body language like we read text messages. If you were annoyed by the tribe leader, or if you found a secret patch of berries you didn't want to share, you had to keep that internal world locked away. If you didn't, the social consequences could be immediate. So, in a very real sense, privacy for our ancestors wasn't about shutting a door. It was about keeping a gatekeeper in their mind. They mastered the art of the poker face long before they ever built a house with a wall. As we moved into the Neolithic period, the landscape began to shift. We started settling down. We started farming. And for the first time, we started building permanent structures. This changed everything. When you build a wall, you aren't just protecting yourself from the elements. You are creating a boundary. You are creating a here and a there. You are creating a space where the gaze of the tribe is effectively blocked. Archaeological digs show us that as settlements grew, so did the complexity of our homes. We started creating partitions. We started compartmentalizing our lives. This was the moment where private property and private life began to bleed into one another. If you own the grain, you own the storehouse. If you own the storehouse, you can choose who enters it. Suddenly, privacy became a resource. It became something you could possess. But let's get into the dark side of this. If we look at the evolution of secrecy, we see that it has always been a double-edged sword. In the ancient world, secrets could be dangerous. If you were doing something in private, it usually meant you were either building something new or you were hiding something illicit. Think about the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia or Egypt. As society became more stratified, with kings, priests, and laborers, the idea of the inner circle emerged. Privacy became a tool of power. The king had private chambers where he spoke to the gods. The priests had private rituals that the commoners could never witness. Privacy, in this context, was used to create mystery, authority, and status. It was the birth of the elite secret. If you could control information, you could control the narrative. So, here is the big question for you to consider tonight. Is the modern anxiety we feel about losing our privacy, the fear of the surveillance state, the tracking, the data mining, is that something new? Or is it a primal urge that's finally being threatened? I would argue it's the latter. Throughout our evolution, we have always maintained a radius of intimacy. We have a bubble around us. When people get too close without permission, we feel defensive. We feel uncomfortable. That discomfort isn't a modern invention. That is an ancient alarm system. Our ancestors had the physical closeness of the tribe, yes, but they also had deep, unspoken rules about how much public information was required and how much private information was yours to keep. When those boundaries were violated, when someone pried too deeply into a secret or witnessed something that was supposed to be private, it caused social tension. It caused conflict. We are just playing out that same ancient conflict on a global digital scale. When we look back at the millions of years of human existence, we realize that privacy was never a permanent state of being. It was a fluid, evolving dance between the individual and the group. We started in a world of total visibility, where our survival depended on being known. We transitioned into a world of boundaries and walls, where we learned to hoard information and create spaces for our inner selves. Today, we are moving into a new era, a digital era where the walls are becoming transparent again. We are returning to a global tribe, where our movements are tracked and our thoughts are monetized. But remember this. Just like our ancestors who sat around those flickering campfires, you still have that mental fortress. You still have the ability to keep your own counsel. The world may be watching, but your mind, that remains the final, ultimate space of privacy. It has always been, and perhaps it always will be. What do you think? Are we losing our fundamental human right to be unseen, or are we just evolving into a new kind of social existence? Drop a comment below, and let's get into it. Stay curious, and keep your secrets safe.